Is the Atlantis simply too big for you? Are you tired of having to buy aftermarket skates? Do you enjoy BDSM and want your fingers to suffer in pain? If so, then you need to watch this video, cause this might just be for you.
Not many users are getting demons a lot anymore.
I feel like people oversell with aim.
First of all, I want to mention that this mouse was sent out to me for review by Lamzu. Huge thanks to them for supporting small creators like me. Also, more than 83% of you guys watching still aren't subscribed, so make sure to do so and hit the bell while you're at it. Getting into the boring stuff, this is the Pro version that is 4K compatible with a Nordic 52840 MCU and a 3395 sensor. The 4K dongle is sold separately for $14. And as with all Lamzu mice, the unboxing experience is simply... I mean, nobody does it like Lamzu. Like, look at this fucking shit. Inside the box, you get a USB-A to USB-C cable. This awesome looking blue dongle that falls off my desk every time I use it. The 1K Hertz receiver. Some extra larger style skates that I've installed already. Some dot skates. Some grips that I've never used, but I've heard pretty good stuff about. Also, I wanted to mention that the QC on my copy is absolutely phenomenal and I've had no issues with it. Now, despite this mouse being an absolute dream on the spec sheet paired with the awesome chalky coating that we'll get into in a bit, the one thing that's holding this mouse back a lot, not only for me, but also for a ton of other people in the community, is actually the shape itself. As you can see, the side profile starts up there, and from there on it points inwards towards the base very aggressively. And when using the shape in-game, the way that you have to position your fingers to grip the sides, it puts a lot of stress on your joints here where your fingers actually go. And whenever you're in intense situations where you have to really concentrate and get a good grip, because you have to force your fingers so much inwards towards the base, after some time your fingers actually start hurting. Of course, I'm not speaking for everybody using this mouse, but I have seen tons of people complaining about it and it's definitely an issue for me as well. Other than that, the shape is freaking great, and I can see the side profile issue being less of an issue for more relaxed fingertip grips, because the hump in the back isn't too bulbous. You can pull off a really nice aggressive claw, and you can also do a nice relaxed claw, but keep in mind that the mouse is pretty short, and with my 19 by 10 centimeter hands, I can't really relax claw it without having some overhang. But yeah, the shape really isn't something for everybody and it's not really the safest recommendation, but we'll get into that later. The mice that I can compare this thing the best to are the Pulsar X2 Mini and the Ninjutso Sora. Comparing it to the X2 Mini, the main differences is the X2 Mini having very flat sides that don't fight against your fingers. The hump profile feels very similar in-game, but the one on the Atlantis definitely feels wider towards the base. And when watching from underneath, you can definitely see the extra girth in the back on the Atlantis Mini for sure. Whilst the bottom of the hump on the X2 Mini is much more narrow and less restrictive. I personally would pick the X2 V2 Mini that is out now over the Atlantis Mini any day of the week for both claw and especially fingertip grip. Comparing the Atlantis Mini to the Sora is actually pretty interesting. When switching between these two mice, the Sora really does feel like a medium version of the Atlantis Mini, but with a safer side profile that doesn't hurt to use over longer periods of time. If you're afraid that the Atlantis Mini might be too small for you, I definitely wait to get the Sora 4K that's being released in a bit with the upgraded coating and such. The new Lamzu coating is really nice. It feels chalky and it has been really grippy for me at all times. When it comes to buttons, the Huano blue shell pink dots on the main buttons feel really nice and tactile, definitely not too heavy and more on the lighter side. Side buttons are really tactile, probably a bit too heavy for some Fortnite players. The scroll wheel feels pretty bad on my copy. It's very light and has pretty little tactility and is virtually silent. And compared to the new scroll wheel on the Thorn, this thing feels pretty awful. The scroll click is really nice and not too heavy though. Another great thing about the Lamzu experience are the stock skates, cause these are certainly the best stock skates that I've tried to date. As you saw in the intro, I really am that type of guy to put aftermarket skates on all of his mice, no matter what. But all I did to this Atlantis Mini was installing the larger pad skates that come with the mouse, and I've had no issues with them on any type of cloth pad. The battery life on this thing is excellent so far. Lamzu advertises 100 hours battery life on stock settings with 1K polling rate, and I can definitely see that being possible. I've been using 4K since day one, and with about a full week's use, I've still got 22% left. Since this is a new Pro version, the mouse is actually 4K compatible, and since you'll have to get the 4K dongle that's sold separately, you'll also need to pair it yourself. However, the process is very easy and painless as long as you read the instructions on the box that come with the dongle. 4K felt really nice on Overwatch, and I'm glad that you're able to have it running without motion sync. I'm looking at you, Razer. Since I'm not a tech spec geek, you'll have to watch House Review if you want to find out more about that though. Getting into everyone's favorite part of buying a new mouse, having to download yet another mouse software. However, since Lamzu has done tons of improvements with their new firmware updates, there's definitely a good reason to go visit their download page. And for any of you getting this mouse, I force you all to download and install the latest firmware before using this thing in-game. By default, the debounce time is set to 8 milliseconds. I've been playing at 2 milliseconds during all my use and have had no issues, so I'd recommend starting at 2 milliseconds for sure. On the second page, you are able to change your DPI, polling rate, and all of that good stuff. The stock settings are for once not completely stupid on a Chinese mouse, but I do recommend turning off motion sync since I personally don't see a benefit of adding input delay. When it comes to my personal opinion about this mouse, I can't see myself ever using it again, since it simply makes my hand hurt after using it for more than a few games. If I want to play claw or fingertip on a smaller lightweight mouse, I'd pick the Hardy-S Plus, the X2 Mini, or even the Hardy-X over this thing. However, $92 is a pretty nice price for what you're getting, and I'm glad that Lamzu is being competitive. Paired with the insane unboxing experience, insane coding, insane QC, and insane stock skates, you're getting a lot for your money. But this shape is simply really difficult for me to recommend with everything that I have experienced and all that I'm hearing from people on PERIPHERALS. So, to the conclusion, who is this mouse for? Honestly, I don't know. If you've owned an Atlantis Mini before and want to upgrade to 4K, get either this Pro version and the dongle, or simply get the charcoal black 4K model that looks freaking nuts. Other than that, I don't see a reason to risk $92 for a pretty specific and sort of awkward shape with that side profile. If you've been interested in getting this mouse and play fingertip grip, I'd definitely recommend you to get the new Pulsar X2 V2 instead. If you've been thinking about getting the Atlantis Mini and play claw grip, I'd get either the upcoming Ninjutso Sora 4K, if you want something that's a bit bigger than the Atlantis Mini, or the G-Wolf's Hardy-S Plus or Felina S450, which are both basically the same shapes that are optimal for all kinds of claw grips. Anyway, that's about it for this video. If you've enjoyed watching, remember to subscribe and hit the bell. If you want to talk about peripherals with other people in the community, make sure to join our Discord server over at pericall.com. Peace out.
Oh my god.